I have like a lot of love for a lot of older J-pop groups and stuff. I was like a big Hello Project fan. A lot of like chica idols and stuff. I've always been very into that shit. Even if I don't seem like the type, I don't know. Every time I say it, there's always someone who's like, I didn't think you would be. I absolutely am. But so I have we'll call it a deep understanding of idol culture. We'll call it that. Um I think I absolutely understand the people that are like, you guys just don't get idol culture and you're tourists. Like, I get what they're saying because a lot of people shit fling without understanding, and they look at idol culture and they see the bad things. There are also tons of documentaries made by all sorts of countries, sometimes in the Western sphere, sometimes Eastern sphere, but there are all sorts of documentaries um, showing the bad sides of it because that's sensational, right? You get a lot of clicks, you get a lot of views, you get people watching it on Netflix, all this stuff, right? Um, there are also a lot of positives that they just never articulate. And then they take the people that like those things in a positive way and they like frame them as weirdos. So the people who are on the side of liking idol culture a lot and wanting to defend it already feel on the back foot and already feel like they have to defend themselves before you even open your mouth because people portray them that way. Like a guy will be working in Japan, a salaryman, he's like 40, and he's like so tired at the end of the day and he just wants to he just goes to some underground little place and watches like a chica idol. And he's like, yeah, I'm your biggest fan. He's like, I get energy from you. And he's just cheering, whatever. And people will be like, he's so creepy, but this dude might be living his most honest life. He wants to watch someone who's happy, who's like just exuding like youthful fun, right? And it doesn't have to be a weird thing, right? It's just someone who's like entertaining you with live music, working hard. You're in return, you're like, I want to support them because they're working hard, and that makes me feel like I want to work hard. And that's a lot of what idol culture is. That's how it started, especially in like the 80s. First idols were just people that were like, you should work hard like me, right? And they're trying to give you that feeling, and you're trying to give it back. And that was the idea of idols versus like just a normal artist or singer, right? So it's very hard for those people who feel like they're just kind of like unabashedly supporting someone and having that person support them back to then feel like they're on the back foot and have people call them fucking weirdos. Because some fans get really weird. There are some fans. I do think the way the fandom is culturally absolutely makes it easy for people to get crazy. And it absolutely excuses some weird behavior, but most fans aren't doing that. That's a small, loud minority, But then they all get treated like that. So it's very hard for them to deal with. So that's why they kind of like lash out or maybe say inflammatory things on Twitter or something about like people that don't get idols or whatever. Because people on the outside, quote unquote, always make them feel that way and always say crazy shit about them, So I get it. And I'm also, like, again, I'm a person who loves idol culture, and I'll see people say crazy stuff about idol fans. And I too, am just like, what? No. Like, like, no. But I don't know. Some people are trying to fill a void that they have with idol culture, which never works. The idol fan relationship is mostly one-sided. So to like your second sentence, so that's, I think most people know it's one-sided. They know that the idol is thankful for them as in a group, and then the fan knows that they are thankful to them, like, one-sidedly just to the individual idol. Everyone knows this. People aren't like stupid. Most people are not that level of delusional. There's very few that are actually that level of delusional to think that, you know what I mean? To think like, oh, there are exceptions though. Yeah, it's very few. So why even talk about them? That's the problem. The more you talk about them, the more you make it seem like all those other people, the majority, are like that, and they're not. You see what I'm saying? Vast majority of people are not that stupid, not that delusional. It just simply makes them happy. Same way you can go to a basketball game, have your favorite team, watch them, cheer when they win. You're not on the court winning. You're not winning shit. You only lost money to pay to watch, right? So it's kind of like the same thing. It's just that it makes you happy. As long as you don't bring in a lot of delusion, you're fine. You know what I mean? One day I'm gonna marry LeBron. I'm gonna marry LeBron James. But yeah, so that's the thing, is like for most of these idol fans, that's really what it is for them. It just makes them happy to be happy for other people. So when they see their favorite idol group like winning an awards show, or like singing in on one of these weekly music shows, if it's like K-pop and winning, or if it's J-pop and you see them like finally doing a concert at the Tokyo Dome, like there are people that will be crying because they'll be like, holy shit, they made it, and it's like insane. And it's just because they've been supporting them the whole time, so they're emotionally tied to the journey. It doesn't mean that they think this really affects them. You know what I mean? Like that they know. Right? But yeah, such is the case with like every fandom. I think people are like that with streamers. Absolutely. Yeah, people saw Mouse doing the Final Fantasy thing. They're like, holy fuck. Holy shit. Because they, watch her all the time, and they're part of that journey as an active observer. And they know they're part of just like one big amorphous blob of people supporting. They're not like, there's not too much individualism to be had there. But that doesn't mean you can't feel real good about helping. You know what I mean? I think it's actually quite healthy to be happy with feeling like a part of a whole and not needing that individual validation to feel happy about something, So there's a lot of positive in my mind with that. Or like when they do charity stuff, you contributed 1 sub to it. Maybe nothing. Maybe you just watched, but you helped to boost viewership by 1 by being there. You contributed. And I think it's fine to be like super, super, super happy. And some people would like be weird and call it parasocial. But I'm like, you put in a small amount of effort, and so did a lot of people. And together as one blob of people, you did something cool. Like that's great. And it's okay to be like, yeah, we did that, and like count yourself as part of that. Even if you're not the main one, even if the main one was the streamer who made the event happen, right? But I do feel like a lot of people outside of our blob here, outside of this chat, outside of VTuber chats in general, they kind of look at it and they're like, oh, these people are weird. Because they're miserable, that's all. Because they're miserable. So you don't have to listen to any of it. Whether it's someone knocking idol culture or like people watching VTubers or whatever. They're just being miserable. They probably have something in their lives that is totally parallel to this. Like I said, like liking your favorite sports team and being happy when they're happy and mad when they're losing. It's the same thing as being happy when your streamer's doing some shit or VTuber's doing some shit that you're like, yay, we did it, whatever. Same shit, parallel. They probably have things in their life like that. But they're, but they just want to be miserable. That's why you can just ignore it. You just ignore it. Easy, man. Unhappy people do not like seeing others happy. Yeah. I think a lot of people just kind of, they just kind of use the internet as their place to punch down or like just shit fling to make themselves feel better because they don't have like healthy ways of regulating themselves. And the problem is, in this world, most people don't seem, well, not most, about half, I would say, in my view, don't seem to have the ability to healthily regulate their emotions and what's going on in their lives. So they just take it out online. That's literally it. So that's why, for me, I feel like it's so easy to ignore those people. Because I'm like, this is just someone who doesn't know how to deal with their own unhappiness. There are plenty of people that know how to deal with it. Or maybe their regulation does suck, but they don't do that. They don't throw it at other people online, right? There's plenty of that. So yeah, that's why for me, I'm like, my philosophy is I don't need to let any of that get to me or be like, oh, the world is so negative. Oh, most of these people wouldn't do this shit in person. And if they do, everyone would be like, that guy's miserable. We're not hanging out with this bozo. Let's go, gang. And then everyone leaves, that guy behind and goes and does something fun. Like that's, you know what I mean? And I said this like, I think last week, but I'll bring it up again. The best way to deal with all of this shit, if you're like reading a lot of people being miserable or seeing people attack each other, whatever, just try to picture people saying these things to each other or doing these things in person instead of online. And think of how this would realistically play out. And in most cases, when people are super negative like that or saying crazy shit, they would get ignored and shunned and people wouldn't fuck with them anymore. You just can't necessarily like... The group doesn't shun people online. Everyone would have to all click the block button on the same person, which they just don't do, right? They just don't do that. So it's like, whatever. Easy to ignore, I don't know about you guys. I actually use the block button a lot. Or even better, I use them, if it's Twitter, mute button. So that way they don't even know that I can't see them. That way they're just fighting ghosts, man. They're straight up fighting ghosts. They think I can see, and like, I would just never answer them, It's healthy, man. It's healthy. What would your Mr. Beast name be? My Mr. Beast my beast OC, Mr. Geese. I don't know what I would be.